Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's game between Clark Red and University of Toronto Silver. It's going to be a best of five in the NECC Champions Atlantic, ending out our group stage. I'm Chris, or Computero, tonight, and joining me on the casting, well, metaphorical desk, I guess, since we're not at one physical desk, is Spaffles.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you all today. Uh, and yeah, looking forward to some of these amazing games coming through.
Yeah, so in this tournament, we're closing out the group stage before we head into the sort of final leg of the tournament. Right now, U of T Silver currently sitting at a 3-5 record, Clark Red at a 4-4. So both teams quite closely placed within the group stages, and both teams will be looking to, I'm sure, get a strong performance and hopefully head on to the final stage. Now, our lineup for U of T, as many of you, loyal viewers are probably familiar with, Alex Striker on tank, Ziffel and Zenith for DPS, and Roast Chicken and the Invader for supports. Now, Clark Red, obviously less of a mainstay for U of T viewers, but we have Icy Cold on tank, Evo and Chromodon on DPS, and Demo and Mr. Jellybean for support.
Alrighty, and now before we get into our game, I'd like to make a huge shout out to our sponsors today. Today we have Monster Energy and Playfly Esports. Massive shout out to these guys. They supplied us with a lot of Monster, to be honest, and it really helped us get through the exam season. Keep our minds sharp and just focus on winning the big prize, aka not dropping out of school. Very pog. Thank you guys so much. All right. Heading back to our series, our first map that's being selected here is going to be Lijiang. We're going to Lijiang Tower. Not too many brand new things to be excited about here. The new Brigitte is enabled, which, really does change at least one or two of these maps, but it's really up to the teams to see if we're going to play that or not. We'll see if they're a little more adventurous today.
Yeah, and Lijiang, I'd say it's up there as a fairly fan favorite Overwatch map. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely seen it a lot more in the competitive scene, but it is also like pretty common to see players, even new players, that really enjoy playing on it. It's really diverse map to map.
And now, as we get ready to head into the game, we are starting out on Lijiang Control Center. Of all the three stages of Lijiang Tower, this one is probably the most, in one way, the most closed in. It has a very high ceiling. In there, most of the fighting obviously takes place within the eponymous control center, close spaces, and so it looks like both teams are, as we would expect, rolling out on Reinhardt Brawl comps.
Yeah, exactly. Now, eye on the prize here. We see Brigitte being picked on one of the sides. We're going to see if that actually plays through for both. Damage orbs coming through for both teams. Xena taking a lot of damage, but unfortunately he's going to be shielded over by Alex. Demo coming through with some poke damage. Not going to get any kills though, as Reaper tries to push them back. This control center fight is going to get very bloody as both Reinhardts counterpin each other, knocking themselves down. No picks are found. Alex is going to go down to Evo though, as a turret form is deadly. Ziffel finds the trade onto Chromodon, as Red Crow are able to secure the first point. Icy Cold also picks off the Invader, and U of T are in a full-blown retreat.
Yeah, and there we see really what the Bastion brings to these brawl comps. We've seen him more and more, even in the Pro-Am recently. Proper on Bastion, you could see the day. Just so much damage, so much shield melting for the Reinhardt.
Yep, now all grouped up again. We're going to see some major ults coming out from both sides. Mostly from the side of Clark Red. Massive shatter coming out. He stuns the backline, and Alex is going to fall. Ziffel finds the trade onto Chromodon, and the Coalescence comes out in return. Unfortunately, they aren't really able to find any picks other than the Symmetra. And Bastion ult's coming back to zone them off. Now, the entire team of U of T seems to be regrouping faster, so maybe they can try and push their advantage as it stands.
We do still have Lucio beat drops online for both teams, and the window comes out.
Yeah, massive back window coming out. Alex falls again. Roast Chicken gonna join him in the grave. Ziffle with the massive rip tire gets canceled out by Evo, and Chromodon finds a pick onto his body. Zenith falls as well shortly, and Invader manages to get out alive.
And seems like the stream feed has cut out. Slight technical difficulties. But I guess while we wait for the stream feed to sort of come back online, we can talk about what we were seeing there and the sort of difference in those compositions.
Yeah, no, so it's a dominant display really from Clark Red. They're able to secure the objective, and we have our stream feed back up. Zenith popping an ult, getting the getting 2 picks there, getting 3 actually. Roast Chicken is able to pick off the Bastion as well. And there goes the team kill at 99% on the overtime, able to flip the point back in their favor.
And what a fantastic sight to see. I knew that when I could see the game again, it was going to be U of T controlling the point, and indeed they are. Shatter online soon for Icy Cold. We're going to see how Alex Striker deals with that, but we have, of course, almost another Rip Tire for Ziffle, as well as Coalescence for the Invader.
Yeah, lots of heavy trades coming out as Alex does fall low, but fortunately he's able to be healed up. Ziffle gets caught out in the corner by Bastion. As a massive Shatter TP comes out from Icy Cold. We're going to see a back window and a Bastion ult to support them. Invader does pop Coalescence though, and he's able to trade onto Chromodon. Surprisingly little picks from the massive ult usage coming out. They are building towards their next set though, as it looks like UFT are able to force back the control of the point, and they're going to continue to go towards that 99%. And it looks like it's not going to happen as Icy Cold finds a pick onto Alex. Zenith and Ziffle do find trades onto their backline, however, and a beat comes out from Roast Chicken. And that solidifies the point, and that's going to secure at least another 10 to 20 percentage points.
And that's just a tremendous Coalescence from the Invader. You know, that's 1 ult going up against 3, sustaining the team through it, and even though all the constant damage from Clark Red did manage to bring down Alex Striker in the end, it was not before Roast Chicken managed to build beat. And now we have Shatter and Beat almost back online for Clark Red, but an ult advantage now in the favor of UFT. They're in 1-fight territory.
Yep, Ziffle coming out with a Rip Tire. He's going to look for a little stall play on top. Unfortunately, Clark Red are not going to push into it, and they already popped the early Immort and the May wall to block him off. Yep, and doesn't find any kills. Roast Chicken does take down the Immort, however, and they're forced to play into the hallway. Alex is looking for a big Shatter, massive Death Blossom coming out, and that is going to knock the entire team down. The Beat is able to neutralize some of it, but they're not able to last too long as the point gets secured and capped for UFT.
And I think we can give that round's Big Slam award to Alex Striker. That was absolutely massive. Stunning, what was it, 4? In the middle of a BAP window?
Yeah, he gets a massive shadow into 4 people. And even through the Beat, you know, the Death Blossom's already chewing through all that overshield and all that overhealth. It's always also falling off. Like, they just really didn't have, like, enough tankiness to survive all those ults, like, getting flung at them. That was, like, I think 3 or 4, I believe, that fight.
Yeah. And now, here we're on Legion Gardens, and I suppose in fairly classic Legion Gardens fashion, we're seeing double flyer, Pharah and Echo, and Diva. So we're seeing, yeah, just a full flyer lineup, really, a full flyer team composition from Clark Red, while UFT continues to run the same sort of Reinhardt brawl.
Yep, and you don't have to be a fortune teller to tell that UFT are probably going to have to switch off a couple characters here, because their comp is a lot more close range. It's not going to be adept at dealing with those flyers, especially with the Mercy and a Kiriko both on the board. Now, the Ziffle early spam does get a lot of damage onto Mr. Jellybean, but unfortunately it's not enough to find the kill, and they're able to wrestle control of the point early as the point turns on. Now, Bastion is able to demech Diva, and Alex is looking for picks. He gets Mr. Jellybean, forcing a lot of the healing output and the survivability of Clark Red to respawn. Icy Cold does also get picked off. He's unfortunately not able to remech, and Pharah and Mercy are forced to retreat all the way into the UFT spawn.
Yeah, for a second there I thought they were going back to their own spawn, maybe to heal up, maybe to spawn up. But no, maybe they got a little confused which side of the map they're on.
Yeah, we'll just take a bit of a breather. None of the UT members really die, so that part of the map is as good as any to just like go take a second and then fly back over the wall. What we did also miss was a really late kill onto the Echo. That's going to stagger Clark Red a little bit, but they should be able to regroup properly. Now, massive coalescence coming through. Evo pops his barrage, but unfortunately not able to find anyone. He does pick up the kill onto Zenith afterwards, though, and Roast Chicken is going to fall to Evo as well. Diva does get demeched by Ziffle, but is that enough to change the tides of the fight? And yes, it is. Chromodon and Evo both pick up extra kills, and Alex is the last one to fall on point. Zenith is coming back from spawn, however, it's best for him to wait for the group to regroup.
And now, still no swap off the Junkrat. I guess Junkrat can kind of kill Pharaoh with concussion mines, but yeah, there we see the double flyer finally getting the value it couldn't in the first fight. And Alex Striker swapping onto the Zarya, going to be getting lots of charge off of those free-flying Pharaoh rockets.
Yeah, I know Junkrat isn't the most traditional counter to Pharah, but you really do not want to doubt Ziffle's Pharah. As well as the Zenith swap onto Cassidy, she'll probably have a pretty hard time here. Now, we do see a copy that is up here. Probably going to try and get a nice copy, maybe onto Zarya or one of the DPS, actually, as they did switch off of Reinhardt after the last respawn. So UFT are mustering around to the point. They're forcing Clark Red all the way back off. Big Kitsune Rush gets popped. Blade Barrage comes out, too, from Pharah. Is able to find Invader, who was close to his ultimate as well. Now, big copy coming out onto Zarya, going to try and find a grab opportunity here. Now, Evo does find a pick onto Ziffle as well. He is tearing up UFT right now, and he gets another pick onto Cassidy as well. Roast Chicken isn't far to fall behind, and yep, and the grab just seals their fate.
Now, that is a fight win for Clark Red, but it did take up 4 ultimates. They had the ult advantage coming into that fight because of the swaps UFT had to make, so it's inevitable. Really, they'd be, doing something wrong if they didn't win. But now we see, the shoes on the other hand. There's 1 ult online for Clark Red with 3, soon to be 4 for UFT Silver.
Interesting death for Chromodon as he falls off the map. However, Evo is able to find a pick onto Roast Chicken. Now, looking into this fight, this is really not a great spot to be in. You do have the ult advantage, however, being down a member is going to neutralize that somewhat. Massive Riptire going out onto the Diva, however, she uses her bomb to remech, and Ziffle is going to get tagged a lot by the Pharah, and he does fall. However, Zenith does kill Evo, and Roast Chicken with the sleep kill onto Mercy. A big Cole coming out in return, using that brand new buff, fading mid-coalescence, and Zenith is able to kill Chromodon, and UFT do recap the point.
I think, by the way, what happened there, for any viewers who might have missed it, is I'm pretty sure Roast Chicken hit a sleep onto the Mercy as she was over the pit, causing her to fall in.
Alright, and here we see some light poke coming in. Clark Red do have time. They can't stall it out. They're only at UFT are only at 70% here. And they're just going to try and play their advantage slowly as they can. Massive Kitsune Rush coming out from Mr. Jellybean. Going to try and bully the Reaper as he's out of position, but he does able to Wraith form out, especially with an additional bubble, making it really difficult to touch. Roast Chicken pops the Nano onto Zenith. The High Noon does get the kill onto Chromodon, but Evo is able to trade back on Alex. Zenith finds the kill onto Jellybean, and it does look like the fight is still UFT favored. Diva gets demeched, but is able to use the, or is not able to remech. And Ziffle and Invader both finish them off. Yep, and that's going to be map 1 going to TMU. Or TMU, UFT. Oh god, getting a little tongue twisted.
Toronto University of Toronto. Yep. I'm sure we've all gotten them mixed up many a time. Gone to the wrong class at the wrong campus, slept in someone's dorm at the other university. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, there we go, that huge slam. Alex Strikers. If you see Toronto Silver, sticking with, in various forms, the tried and true dive, or not dive, brawl, opposite of dive, that I'm sure we all love to play. I love to play. Sort of outing myself as a Lucio player, but there we go. As Lijiang Tower goes the way of UFT Silver, what did you think of that map?
I mean, that map was really interesting. We saw both points. Clark Red were able to really just capture the objective early and even force them into an overtime recap. But UFT, after they captured the point, even though they did look a little flimsy earlier, they just did not let go. They knew how to play the ult advantage properly, and they would just pound them back.
Yeah. I really do think Clark Red looked very strong in the sort of opening neutral phases of those um, fights, of those rounds. But really, firstly, I think once U of T get a hold of the point, they do a good job of gripping onto it, and it is especially in Lijiang Tower fairly easier to sort of position yourself around the point once you already have it. That's true of all control modes. But I think especially, yeah, U of T just really showing their skill in terms of the macro play and the alt management, and really it was that alt economy because time again we saw Clark Red just spending 3 or 4 alts in a fight, maybe not 4, but 2 or 3 alts in a fight, and getting next to no value, or certainly not a fight win out of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from both teams, really, we saw a lot. We saw some fight wins that we weren't really expecting. Um, Namely, U of T were actually able to come up from a massive ultimate deficit, even like getting 3 or 4 ults thrown at them and still
Yeah,
coming out on top.
on that first round,
Meanwhile,
even.
yeah, the first point and even second point, we saw 4 ults getting popped out as well, against like a heavily swapped team. But at the same time, we also saw Clark Red were a lot better at fighting these like neutral fights, and their macro was a lot better. But in terms of overall game state, we did see them falter a little bit as the game drew on longer, and alt economy really started to dig its claws deep into these teams and like really started to bleed them a lot more. You could really see like how the power skills were shifting.
And now, yeah, I think really the biggest sort of moments, as far as more, um, I think a lot of it on that first round just came down to the shatters, and we saw how much really U of T was able to get one of those shatters. But what's sort of, I guess, yeah, definitely interesting about that second point is the double flyer, and U of T only with a single hit scan to contest that, and you know, winning last fight even with the Zarya dead, admittedly after taking 2. But you know, I'm wondering if we're going to see double flyer from Clark Red again, because there are obviously teams like Twisted Minds we saw in the Pro-Am that heavily favor Pharah and Echo. But I'm thinking we're sort of seeing there some of the weakness of double flyer, really, where you have one, either the Mercy hard pocketing one and leaving the other out in the cold, or splitting her attention, and similarly the Diva, and just if you have an enemy team that knows how to play around flyers and knows how to counteract them, um, you can really struggle. And even on Lijiang Garden, that map that is I mean, Lijiang in general is famously a flyer map, famously a Pharah
Yep.
map, and an Echo map. It's if you play it right, it's actually not that hard to sort of play around the cover on the middle of the point. And I think we saw U of T with but a single Cassidy managing to shut those both down.
Yeah, exactly. It was really great what they were able to execute with just one hit scan onto the double flyer comp, especially with the Mercy as well, making it kind of like a 3v1 kind of scenario if you think about it that way. Meanwhile, next map is going to be King's Row. I have never seen this map in competitive before. It is a very, very odd pick, very off meta. Really just boggles me as to what's going to be run here. Couldn't possibly be Brawl versus Brawl, or possibly some flyers in mixed in as well. What do you think could happen on this brand new map?
Yeah, well, I think, as we all know, it's a Sigma map. Maybe a little bit of a Roadhog map. I'm expecting we'll see lots of man, I don't even know what. No, I can't even keep that joke going.
Yeah. Enough joshing about. Let's give them the academic
Kings
look
Row,
they were
if
looking
we
for.
said
Yeah.
Lijiang was a fan favorite, Kings Row is the fan favorite, right? It is. It's the hymn of Overwatch matches, of Overwatch maps, really.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I'm expecting we'll see Brawl out of U of T. You do see teams run Dive, but it does look like both teams are going to be running the Brawl Mirror with U of T running a Life Weaver. Okay. Oh,
Oh
okay. Or
no,
no,
actually,
Moira.
I believe
Okay.
that's an error. I don't think Lifeweaver is enabled yet. You still
Okay.
have to wait the 2 weeks, and yeah, it depends on
Okay.
tournament
Yeah.
rules.
Also,
However, what
with
is enabled is break.
yeah. Also, Zen
Big one to
Lifeweaver
watch out
with
for.
Zen Lifeweaver with Weaver's Healing being what less than Mercy would be
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, hey, back in old Overwatch days, Zen Mercy was meta. Back in like
hmm
season 1 or before season 1, I remember.
Yeah, well, okay, take your meds, old man. We can talk about that later. Now we're going into the start of the map. Gonna see a little bit of a Lucio poke off the top, I guess. He's just gonna wall right towards the team. We're gonna see Chromodon on the May. May catch on the attacking side, kind of interesting. Not really as played, especially U of T actually opted out of it into the Ziffle Zenith, kind of like poke and dominate comp. They're just gonna wait for Clark to try and make their stake on the objective before activating on them. Roast Chicken finds the pick onto Jellybean. That's massive, huge source of healing gone for Clark, and they're actually opting to go in further. They're going up into the high ground on the top of the point. It looks like they're going to be able to just stall it out and wait for Mr. Jellybean to come back and rejoin them. But Ziffle is able to get a lot of poking from this angle, doing a really, really good job at keeping the team at bay as they're going to make their way through the hallway, trying to pressure him out of the high ground. Now, May is forced to proc her Icy Cold early, and Icy Cold is forced back, and they're going to retreat to the statues. The Invader almost gets his head taken off, as Evo also drops a little low.
Yeah.
Now, heading back over to Evo, we're going to see a little bit more of like a slow take. They're getting ready. They're going to amp the speed up, and they're going to drop a back window to try and take back the objective.
And UFT has to give them some free capture, but they've done, exactly what you're doing in Sebastian window. Stay out of LOS, and now they're able to re-engage with Coalescence pretty happily.
Yeah, Big Cole coming back out. Gets Maywald off, however, she's able to just walk around it like normal. Discord Orb on the Reinhardt is going to keep him permanently low. Zenith is able to find a pick. Ziffle as well. Hynum goes and gets nothing, as Chromodon is able to find a pick onto Alex. However, it's too little too late, and they're all going to get sent back to the spawn room.
And I'm just going to talk really briefly about the sort of main difference between these two comps, which is... or what we saw rather, which was the Lucio brawl with May and Lucio versus the Bastion Zen. And with the Bastion Zen, what we saw is that it's just so hard to engage in there straightforward. So much damage comes out. It's and the Zen team is so much happier playing at distances. And we saw Clark trying to do what you do against that, which is sort of rotate around cover to close the distance. But getting picked off, peeled apart. And now they're
emptying the speed in. They're going to drop the Blizzard. However, Transcendence is going to be able to save them, as well as the Riptide are going to bring D.Va really, really low. But unfortunately, since everyone was frozen, they weren't able to follow up. Massive ults coming out from Zenith. He's going to try and catch out any of these immobile characters as he can. And he is going to find a pick out to Chromodon. Evo does trade back against Roast Chicken, and a sound barrier is dropped. Now, in the 4v4, this could still go either way. D.Va Bomb coming out, trying to get the remech in as fast as possible. The remech comes out, and we're going to try and keep building towards the D.Va Bomb. Alex is anti, but he is going to be able to get healed back to full by Moira. Xena finds a pick onto Evo, and it does look like they're going to be able to hold on just a little bit longer. Cole coming up just in case they need it, and also a Shatter soon. It is going to look a little dangerous, though, as they did default back to the double flyer comp. Really, really, really good counter versus, an incoming Shatter.
Now we're looking at this barrage, we're looking at the nano, maybe even a nano barrage, but really the shatter is, the big playmaking ult that
Cole comes out early to try and sustain the team, as they're going to single out Jellybean, and they should be able to find a kill here. Yeah, Invader finds Jellybean, and D.Va is going to get demeched and instantly killed out of it. Only one ult expended to win another fight. That really saves them a lot of time. 20 seconds left. What do you think we could see here in this last fight?
I think it's really all in the Shatter. That's the only ult that UFT has left. But, we have 3 coming up for Clark Red. I'm expecting they should be able to take it, but a big enough Shatter for
looking to take the off angle here as the barrage is getting ready. Ziffle does find a pick onto Demo, however, but isn't going to stop the nano coming through. Basically the same effect as a Mercy boost, except you have to play within line of sight of your Ana to get these constant heals. Now the barrage is going to come out, but he does get traded back by Roast Chicken. Icicle finds the kill into Zenith, and Jellybean is stunned as well by this Shatter. Roast Chicken and Invader are able to clean up the fight, and that's overtime down. 0% of the point was captured for Clark Red, and UFT are looking strong going into their attack.
Yeah, and that's really just a great performance from all the members of UFT, looking really, really comfortable in that King's Row. That Junk Bastion comp is honestly a menace. Bastion, Junk Zen. three of the characters that I think you least like to see as a tank queuing into a game. And that last fight, I think was, I need to give a shout out to Ziflheim. Just the early pick on the Mercy, just I think completely took the legs out from underneath that push. Because with the Mercy gone, the Pharah sort of soon follows. The Nano is forced out early, unable to get much value. And then Pharah dies during Barrage, and the whole sort of driving force of the push just gone. As we're seeing on defense, it looks like Clark Red are going to be running the same May Cassidy brawl that they ran on their attack. And it looks like also I'm expecting to see U of T also on the same, or at least a very similar sort of more heavy spam damage Zenyatta brawl with, and there we go, Ziffelheim on the trademark Junkrat.
Yeah, so the May Cassidy brawl is a lot more effective on defense compared to attack. However, being U of T and stacking so much damage on top of each other, like I wouldn't be surprised if Xena swap back to Bastion instead of Widow. If they're coordinated enough, which I'm sure they are going to be able to break these May walls way before they're able to do any substantial damage to Alex or even to kill him, or like break his shield at the very least. So yeah, they are going to be able to walk through the choke point very, very easily here. Junkrat Trap going down in front of Icicle just to try and dissuade him from a pin. There's a massive wall coming out to separate them from the team. However, Zenith does find a pick out the Chromadon. He does actually walk out of the spawn with the Widowmaker. That's surprising. Icicle does take a lot of heavy damage. However, he is forced back. Both supports are still alive for Clark Red. That is a very, very good sign. As they're able to heal up and sustain back to full. Immort comes out really, really early, actually, as none of them were dropping down nearly low enough HP. Roast Chicken is able to take out the Immort field, but unfortunately there are no picks found. Alex does drop low, but he's going to be healed up around the corner. Both teams are taking this fight really, really slow. Oh, Evo does finally get picked off by Ziffle. But an early window is able to stabilize the fight as Alex is forced into hiding around the corner. Zenith does find a pick on the demo as well. And wow, Ziffle with the point blank tire onto Chromadon. This looks like a open and shut point, as Ziffle is able to also find Jellybean, and Alex does take on his counterpart of Icy Cold.
And U of T very happily just play that slow, poke, prod, wear down the enemy defenses, build up ult charge, and I think they really know that sort of Lucio comp really wants to play close, wants to play fast, and if you deny them that, you see what we saw. A very, dominant looking win for Kings Row from U of T, and I think, just looking really, really, really comfortable in Kings Row. It's a fan favorite of the community as a whole, and I'm guessing it's a favorite for U of T Silver as well, as they're up 2-0 now in this series. Looking to the third match soon on match point. What do you think of what we saw there, Spaffles?
Yeah, so going into map 2, it wasn't really an advantage for either team. I know that usually teams like to pick what they're most comfortable on, but Kings Row, everybody scrims Kings Row. Everybody loves Kings Row, right? So going into that map, it was really a lot more of a neutral ground, and just to see that like open and done shutout at first point is really like unexpected. I don't really think we can point at any one thing to really dissect here and say that this was what happened or this is what happened. What do you think? Well, like, were there any standouts throughout
I
this
think for me
matchup?
the big standout in terms of a surprise was, and you pointed it out, but it was Zenith actually leaving spawn as Widowmaker. You don't see that often. I think, can we call that like the reverse Surefour? The famous
Yeah,
Surefour
yeah,
play where
yeah.
he surprises the enemy team by sort of going back to spawn and swapping the Widowmaker midway through the round. I think the reverse Surefour, that's when you leave spawn as Widowmaker when everyone expects you not to.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of teams not really expecting the Widow. She's able to get like a surprise pick or two. Everyone's playing out in the open. People aren't respecting her as well because they really just expect them to swap back onto some other hit scan. And yeah, that surprise factor, that pick or two at the beginning, really just like tilts the direction that the fight is going to go into.
And just pick after pick after pick from U of T, and it really is. I will say, not something that we see too much in Overwatch League or anything, but that's don't underestimate Junk Bastion. It makes it so hard for a Reinhardt player to do their work. And for all you Junkrat one tricks out there, it's tough going for, well, I won't say us because I don't play Junkrat, but it's tough going. But you can keep your head high because you can know that
Yes.
a U of T caster said that Junkrat is a good character.
Yep.
Verbal
And
strong.
tiny hole, big bomb, bomb going hole, explode. Uh, that is Junkrat gameplay. You have a choke, you're very happy, and you're just like you're spamming away, you're pumping in shots, and you're just content. You're living life to the fullest. And it does look like our next map here is actually going to be picked. It's going to be Dorado, and what, what are we thinking here? What do you
Well,
think is going to happen?
Dorado is a map with a lot of verticality, a lot of very strong, almost oppressive high grounds for the defending team to control. And especially on the first point, it tends to be, I think, it's a Winston map, it's a Diva map above all else.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
you do see some, Reinhardt comps, you do see some rush and that sort of stuff, but for the most part, it tends to favor dive. And U of T, from the last two maps we've seen, love that brawl. I'm wondering if we're going to see them try and sort of, force out some sort of Lucio Rhine situation. Either somehow speeding around long circuitous stairway routes or just forcing point on the low ground. But I really would expect we're going to see either a Winston comp or a Diva comp for really either team.
Yep.
The big question on my mind is, will we see Ziffel once again on the Junkrat on what is not really a Junkrat map?
Oh,
Um,
100%. At least on one of these points.
well, I mean, I guess if anyone can force Junkrat, but I do think we will probably see the double flyer again. It does look like Clark Red likes to play that.
Hmm.
And Dorado, a map with a lot of airspace, a lot of rooftops that are good for sliding onto over. Um, it is quite a strong fire map, so I I won't be too surprised if we don't see it.
Yep.
But I will be I will be at least somewhat expecting that we see Farah here. And speaking as an ex-Farah main myself, I can say that you know back when I played Farah a lot, Dorado was one of my favorite maps, and now that I don't, it isn't. Um, because of Farah's.
Yep. And also Dorado is going to be like one of the maps to really keep an eye out on. All this high ground and all these positions that are really advantageous for both sides. I know you mentioned a lot of like the defense has a really easy access to it, but if the attackers can actually just take control, if they're able to get up there in their brawl and actually win a fight, is very oppressive against the defenders.
Mm.
It's really something to keep your eye on if you're looking at the post Lifeweaver meta. All that free high ground access he has with his pedals, 12-second cooldown, 10-second duration. He's just going to be able to put many comps in a better position on these maps that are a lot more vertical. You're going to be able to see your Reinhardts, your Aristas get played here. They're going to be able to walk up to high grounds and just pedal up on top. Really opening up a lot of opportunities that weren't really there before. You could see like Lucio, or you could see like Brawl, like Lucio, Reinhardt, brush comps with Lifeweaver in them instead of, say, I don't know, um, well, like Kanana or something. And
Well,
you're
I don't
just
know
going to be
about
able to see
Lucio
them.
Lifeweaver with the healing output, but
Hmm. Well, I mean, your healing output doesn't matter if they're all dead. So,
yeah, that's
mhm.
that's the motto I think of every TikTok Moira and every battle Lucio in Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I'm pretty surprised by Lifeweaver's healing output after the recent buff when or the hotfix, not hotfix, the emergency buff he got before his release, where they reduced like his charge time on his heals. I don't know if everyone here has been able to play it, but it actually feels really good, and he can put out a lot more healing. He can put out pretty much like he can beat Kiriko in terms of healing, also having a lot more utility. Because Kiriko has to like wix in kunais and like do a lot of damage to get her utility out in combination with her Suzu. Meanwhile, Life Weaver, it's all about supporting your teammates and less about doing damage unless you're like put in a corner or you're just trying to finish off a kill as fast as possible.
Well, I think we might. Oh wait, actually no, they mega buffed it. Okay, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
looking at the numbers now. I didn't think it was that big, but yeah, it is 65 healing per second when you're going full out on it, which is
it's pretty
um,
good.
yeah, not bad. That's a little bit less than a yeah. It's like between Mercy and Scoped Ana.
Yep,
Okay,
that is. Yeah, she is. Or sorry, he is in a very, very good spot going into the meta, and I'm really, really interested in seeing how these teams are using him because they're definitely using him during scrims, and even like any map really can be melded, but there's certainly going to be ones where he is going to play better.
yeah, I can say I've only seen him. I've only seen him played, and I've only played him in quick play, which is obviously a lot less serious, a lot less organized.
Hmm.
But I can say if you're looking to mess around with people, which uh, for the record you shouldn't, don't do that. Um, that said, he is incredibly suited for that. And we're queuing in now. Enough Life Weaver talk as we see Ball Echo Sombra coming out for Clark Red, as it is Junkrat once again, along with a sort of Ramatra Soldier, semi-poke, semi-brawl comp for U of T.
It's a lot of a lot of spam going down to the choke here. Tracer is going to be able to flank behind. Evo is going to try and look for a kill or something, but he's forced out by Ziffle. The Harming Orb just keeping him full top, and he's going to get Evo around the corner. Ball going to try and do something on the high ground, however he's just going to roll away after he sees Ziffle. It'll be interesting seeing how they try and attack this point. It does look like Ball is just going to return to the payload and try and push that as far as possible. And when it gets to the choke point, they're going to revert to taking the high ground. As the payload goes underneath, this choke point is the one UFT wants to hold at. This is the tightest point in the entire map, and you just want to make sure the team doesn't get through. Massive sleep going through, and Jellybean is going to fall. However, Icy Cold does find a pick. He does survive, even with the Discord Orb on top of him. And, oh, wow, Evo almost with the kill onto Roast Chicken. However, he's able to make it out. Zenith is going to switch over to Cassidy, coming back from the spawn, however. Going to be a little slower than Soldier, but he will make it in time to fight another fight.
Now we see U of T in the lead with Ultimate Charge. The Invader already 80% to Nano Boost. The Cassidy going to be able to better contest the Echo.
Yep, big slam coming through. Chromadon and Ice Cold are able to find picks, however, Zenith trades back onto Ice Cold. That's Fan the Hammer, roll Fan the Hammer. Chromadon finding another pick, and Jellybean as well onto Ziffelheim. That's 4 kills, and forcing Alex to retreat alone. Unfortunately, he didn't really have a lot of staying power, so the enemy team was just able to walk around him.
Yeah, just the Ball picking up both sports. What can you say? But now we do see Brig coming out of Roast Chicken.
Yep, so big Ball, Tracer flank. Tracer is going to look for a kill with the Pulse Bomb. Sees the Ana, misses the stick, however, and they're able to walk out of it just fine. Cassidy is going to get tagged a lot, but he's just going to survive. The big Nano Boost coming out. He fails a few shots on the Tracer, so he's going to switch over to an easier target. Icy Cold does find the kill onto Invader, however, they're down in 1 support. Only Briggy to left. Jellybean does find the pick onto Zenith, and they are being put on the back foot. Coffee Ramatra ults, does take out Ramatra himself and Roast Chicken as well. Ziffle goes down too, and that's going to be the point capture in a pretty dominant fashion with a solid 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, and I think really the Ball just doing so much work there. The Invaders struggling so hard to stay alive on Ana, swapping now onto Moira. And we're 82% now to Rally. And I'm sure as everyone is excited to see what the new Rally can do with its comically oversized shield.
Yeah, that's a nice pre-fight pick onto Chromadon from Zenith, and they are going to see the Tracer behind. Vader does find a pick on the demo, however, and Alex kills Jellybean. And that's really going to put a dampener on their push here, and they're just going to have to wait it out a little bit. 4 ults on the side of U of T to only 2 from Clark Red.
Yeah, and now really it's what we were talking about after that Lijiang Tower, and after that King's Row. It is about the ult economy. It's about cycling those and seeing how much each team can get out of them in the second point, as it looks like U of T looking to hold low.
Yeah, wow, Zenith with a double headshot, and Ziffle finds the kill into Evo, surprisingly, with the Riptire. Demo and Chromodon are able to, Demo reses Chromodon, who's also able to find a pick onto Invader, and Zenith puts him down to the ground twice in the same fight. Evo does kill Roast Chicken, but they are going to get forced back to spawn. Yep, Ziffle does trade back on Evo, and oh wow, he is in their spawn. Something I was not expecting at all. Yes, the Chromodon finds 2, and yeah, they're going to be able to push off that. Sorry.
And now we have Zenith just sort of lurking up there. I wonder if he's going to get spotted. Maybe he's looking for a flank noon, or just a pick onto Chromodon. They still don't know he's up there. Let's
Yeah, look at him, he's just a silly little guy in a silly little corner. He's gonna be able to find Chromodon, even with the Sticky Bomb Nurse. He jumps down with a 360 high noon. However, they're gonna be able to fall back behind the corner. What? The high noon, whiffs point blank, and Icy Cold does find a pick, but Zenith is just tearing through the team.
Someone call Marbler. That was.
That was as high noon as your high noon can get. I'm gonna tell you that. And if you guys haven't seen the Marbler video, it is the high noon is not a hit scan ability, despite what the game tries to tell you.
Yeah, just misses. We see now Pulse coming out from Evo, taking down Zenith as it's coming close to the final capture of this second point. Alex Striker probably going to be looking to get something done with that Annihilation.
Yeah, unfortunately his shield wasn't available, so he's just gonna run in straight up with the ult. Gets out mobility, I guess. As his Annihilation is gonna end very quickly. Echo with the copy though. Echo copying these new tanks, especially the newer ones over this Overwatch 2, is very strong. However, he does get popped out of it. Ziffle with the Riptide are gonna come through. He's looking for a pick. Can he get it? Tracer's running away. The recall right in time. Zenith's turret actually kills Chromodon. Shoots him straight out of the air.
I mean, one robot to defeat another. You know, fire with fire. And Chromodon now swapping onto the Pharah, much stronger against that Torbjorn and Alex Striker. Taking Winston as a pick, which, yeah, I think on this latter half of point 2, those high grounds are just so much more important, and you really can't play a tank like Ram that is unable to move quickly between them.
Yeah, and all roads lead to Rome. 2 flyers coming back out onto Clark Red. They are just going to default to what they know, and what they know is to fly. Evo finds the pick onto Ziffle, catches him out on the high ground, and even with the bombs coming out, they're not going to be able to find any extra kills with it. 4 versus 5 right now. Ziffle's coming back from spawn. He should be here soon. It is a very, very close spawn room for the defending team. And Invader is able to find a kill onto Evo. These turrets are getting killed off of spawn, and Zenith walks into Icy Cold's mine from way earlier, does not know it's still there, and gets picked off. However, Invader's going to pick onto Jellybean. Valkyrie coming out to counteract all that damage, and Chromodon is able to find a pick onto Roast Chicken. This is a very, very bloody fight. Still can go either way here. Mercy is going to get picked off. She's chipped down, and finally she's killed. And Ball is looking like he's going to suffer the same fate. He rolls away with 1 HP, but he's not going to be able to recontest in time because the med pack is just too far away. And there goes the first round with a massive holds from U of T.
Yeah, and I think we did see double fire. We did predict that coming out a little bit later, but really, yeah, once again, commendations to Zenith, really holding it down on the Cassidy, preventing the value from those flyers from getting too excessive, and also doing some 360 drop high noons that no reg.
Yeah, that's certainly a highlight play if I've ever seen one. Unfortunately, didn't really catch anyone. Really not sure what exactly was the cause behind that. It looked like he had the skull confirmation, but then when he also hit the button, it kind of like, I'm not sure if it timed out or if the shot actually went through and just missed.
I think Aaron decided he just didn't get to do damage that time.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we do see U of T on their attack, going for the Winston. We saw Ram on defense, and it is, on defense, when you have time to get set up on those high grounds, you can play the less mobile tanks. But, I mean, we already saw, that second to last fight on second point that U of T managed to clutch out, thanks primarily to Chromodon's Echo Copy not getting too much value. We did see that, when you're playing the Ramatra and you're on that low ground, he pops ult, and then it goes point, and there's just really nothing there for him to punch. Everyone on the other team can move freely between high grounds. They just melt away. And so Winston now to contest that double fireball once again for Clark Red, and Ziffelheim yet again on Junkrat.
Yeah, Roast Chicken is actually able to just tap away at Evo and, you know, pick him up pretty early. That's a nice kill, but respawn or spawn is right there. It's not going to be that impactful on the overall game. Zenith is going to, you know, continue to poke out a little bit. Genji, a little bit of an untraditional pick, but they are going to probably go for some Nano Blade shenanigans. Chromodon almost finds the pick onto Winston, however, Ziffle is able to trade him out. Icy Cold with the slam kill onto Zenith, and Roast Chicken again onto Evo. Evo's not having a good time as the chicken is angry. Invader with the orb kill onto Mercy, and that is just a complete first point domination.
I've seen an angry chicken before, but I can't say I've seen an angry roast chicken. Maybe if I don't know, if it's some sort of like Toy Story but with food.
Yeah.
Is that a movie? Oh, it is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got Big Al in his chicken suit, and that's, you know, that's roast chicken right there. Except with the sniper rifle, not a sign. All right, going into second point here. Roast Chicken is hungry. He is thirsty for blood. He's gonna try and go for another triple tap. Unfortunately, he did have a little struggle hitting his teammate there. You know, just things you do for as Ana.
We've all done it.
Yep. Now, trying to wrestle for control of that high ground is a little more difficult here for UFT compared to first point. Hopefully, they are going to be able to get a pick or two. Demo is dropping incredibly low, and so is Jellybean. Icy Cold finds a pick onto Zenith and Evo onto Alex, and that stops that push in its tracks.
Yeah. And second point defense, really those double flyers with that high ground to fall back to. It's just so hard to push onto them. You know, a Winston bubble only lasts so long against that much damage.
Yep.
And without the ability to be up there on the high ground against them, they can just fall back to cover basically at any time they please. And it makes it so hard to keep a scope on them, so hard to do damage. And we see basically almost every ult on the board for either team. And so now we're going to see really anything coming up, though I'm expecting a Nano Blade.
Yeah, we got ult o'clock coming up as the Echo Copy onto Winston comes through. Icy Cold is going to pick off Roast Chicken, and that's a lot of the healing for UFT coming out. Nano does come through, but unfortunately not able to get any return picks. Ziffle does shut down the copy. However, Icy Cold does kill Ziffle with the primal. Yeah, forced back into the spawn. That's still 4 ults remaining. They only committed 1 ultimate to that fight. Meanwhile, Clark Red committed 2. You know, they have 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. They can drain them dry. They just have to commit less ults or equal ults to the enemy team, and they will eventually have an ultimate advantage here.
Eventually, though, being the operative word here, is it looks like they're trying to chase down the Mercy. She's falling very, very, very low, and Blade finally comes out from Zenith.
Yeah, so Evo finds a pick on the Ziffle. Zenith does trade back with the Blade, however, an Invader Coalescence kills off Evo. He finds 2, the DPS Moira, the TikTok Moira. That's going on his YouTube montage. And they are 3 ultimates expended. Well worth. Just pushing Clark Red back into their spawn room. Very, very deep. They're going to try and push their advantage as far as possible, also having 3 people on the cart. Now we're entering 1-fight territory here with 2 minutes and 55 seconds left. We have a Riptire and a Nano coming up very, very, very soon. Any pick here is going to be lethal. Chromodon does kill Roast Chicken before he's able to build a Nano. However, Ziffle finds a trade onto Icy Cold, and Zenith as well. He does kill Mr. Jellybean. Now, Valkyrie does get popped while they're in the air. They are going to be able to survive, but are they going to be able to contest? As Alex is sitting in his bubble on the point, Valkyrie to touch. However, Echo and Pharah need to get back in the air, otherwise they're going to get melted. Barrage comes in, but he does get traded immediately by Ziffle, and Winston's back. Winston's back, and Echo is able to trade away Alex. It took a while, but he's able to die, and Demo does res Evo, putting an end to that push with 2 meters and 12 centimeters left.
Yep. And finally able to clutch out with the Valk, but really it is hard to get too much value out of a Kitsune Rush with double flyer, and with the early pick on the Winston, Clark Red's ultimate advantage is now basically all but gone. They're technically up in charge, but no ults remaining on the board for them. As UFT have another minute and 45 seconds to push the cart about 5-10 meters.
Yeah, coming up we have a Nano. We also have a Blade soon as well. They could try and wait for the Nano Blade. However, they might get impatient and just Nano the Winston. Winston is going to dive even deeper, though. He's going to try and get a lot of chip damage in, but it typically isn't enough, especially against these flyers. Copy is up online, and it is going to be used onto Winston to try and get a trade out. Winston's not usually the highest target, but he is going to be able to double bubble Alex and stop him from getting healed by his team. Now what they're going to push UFT back into their spawn. Evo as well, just continue to hammer the point down that we do not want you here. Icy Cold kills off Zenith, and they need to stop the bleeding.
The Invader looking to come out with some poke, but now Nanoblade is online for UFT. Other ults also almost coming online, as I think we can fairly safely say it is a bit of an ult advantage for Silver with less than a minute going. They're almost in one fight territory.
Yeah, this is absolutely one fight territory with 40 seconds left, and the team is still regrouping. They're going to try and take advantage here. They're actually going to try and go below. They're not really fighting for the high ground as aggressively this time. Hipfire shots do connect with the Pharah. However, big sleep onto the Winston. The nade is going to be used for self-healing, and the Primal Blade is going to go through. Genji is able to find a pick. However, Chromadon and Icy Cold trade back with two in their own kind. Coalescence coming through to kill off Chromadon as well, and the Valk is going to get popped. Just got it in time. Unfortunately, this is looking like a lost fight for UFT. However, they are still holding on with dear hope. 10 seconds left. If anyone dies here, this is going to be really, really bad. Alex does fall, and a barrage is still here. A barrage is still very, very doable, and it is going to really put some people into the ground. Evo does find the pick onto Ziffle. Jellybean onto Invader, and it's can they stall? Can they stall it out? Can they let the team regroup? And no, that is not what can happen. Wow, and that is 2-1. That is a map 1 for Clark Red.
Yeah, and that's just a real nail-biting hold on Dorado, and I think we can see there, why they chose Dorado as their map. It really is. That second point especially so strong for those flyers, and yeah, just great work. Honestly, I really do want to highlight it. That tank work, just sort of focusing the Ana, coming into that last fight, and really just preventing her, as you saw, from getting Nano out. Genji forced to Blade without Nano, and the Nano only coming in right at the very last sort of desperate stages of overtime. We might have seen a completely different story, honestly, if Nano had been able to be used going into the fight by UFT Silver, but great work by Icy Cold denying that, and a very, very close clutch win for Dorado.
Yeah, I mean, you really had to bust out the tape measure there to see the difference. Only 2 meters. That was how close this was to being an open and shut series, right? But fortunately for Clark Road, they are able to secure the win, and they might even pull a reverse sweep here. Like, this is the start of something bigger. They can, if they win this, or if they win this next map, they will be back on open footing. Like, it'll be back on equal footing, and they're going to be able to, win this, potentially this entire series for themselves.
Potentially, but next map, of course, map pick is back in the hands of UFT Silver. And we have seen, I think, pretty decisively now what each team more or less likes to play. We've seen Clark Red really likes to play those flyers, and I think, Alex even has the Ramatra profile picture. We can fairly safely say that UFT do enjoy a bit of brawl. They're brawl enjoyers in classic NA fashion.
Yeah, UFT, they love their brawl. Clark Red, they really, really do love their flyers. And I mean, when it comes to these maps, there's not really. I believe Push is the next map. Push is very, very open, and it doesn't really favor one or the other very inherently, depending on what map you choose, because the map really changes heavily what you're going into. It's like take Toronto or Esperanza or
Colosseo.
Colosseo. There you go. Name escapes me for a sec. It's very, very different what you're trying to expect given all the maps. Some are longer, some are folded in on themselves, some have the high grounds that are really advantageous. And yeah.
I'm I'm expecting probably we'll see Esperanza picked just because it is most people's favorite push map. It's what we see the pros almost always pick. Um, and it is, probably the best designed one, to be fair.
Mhm.
I am holding my fingers crossed though for New Queen Street just as a Toronto enjoyer. Mainly just because of locale.
Wow, newsflash, local Toronto mans likes the Toronto map.
Hey, not everyone in Toronto likes Toronto, okay?
Well,
Um,
okay, but you gotta represent.
it's true. And will we see UT represent Toronto? I don't know. No. Okay, we have a whole bunch of well, I guess Overwatch players, but we can say uh no, traders to the city is too strong. Just not New Queen Street enjoyers, which fair enough. That second half of the map is pretty brutal. Leaving me a little bit sad that I won't get to hear the TTC chimes today, but we are heading into Esperanza. It is, yeah, a very balanced map in terms of what compositions like to play on it. I think the one thing that stands out about not Esperanza in particular, but Push in general as a game mode is that it is, I think, firstly, more than any other game mode, one where big comebacks are possible because it is all about momentum and it's all about the macro play and the sort of alt management of that alt economy. And really, we've seen, especially on some maps, U of T doing quite well with managing to get lots and lots of value out of their alts and managing and cycling their alts very well.
Hmm.
So it really is just a question of will we see that again? How well will either team be able to sort of keep up momentum, manage that sort of alt rotation um, to take home the victory as we load into Esperanza,
Yep.
Portugal.
So Esperanza is a very, very cool map, I'd say. I love the locale, especially the out of box, like the skybox and the out of bounds areas are just so beautiful. You see all the nice like pure blue water. You see the massive dam out in the background, and like mixed in like all that modern or like futuristic architecture with all like the olden buildings and like the look and feel of an older city. Like that kind of aesthetic or that kind of vibe is very like familiar to me. It's local around most of the Middle East, and like to see it represented here is pretty cool.
Mm.
Really just brings you back to a familiar place, and even throughout the map itself, inside of bounds, same vibe replicated almost perfectly. It is an
Mm.
amazing retelling.
Yeah. Um, well, I mean, for me, it mostly just makes me think of Portuguese food and it makes me hungry. But um, I think your story is a fair bit more,
Yeah,
touching.
give or take, hometown versus food.
Um,
Honestly, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, both
as
work
as we
just
do
fine.
see both teams now coming out on Winston compositions, Ana being
Yep.
the main support for, or the main support difference
And something to
for
note is it seems that
UFT.
UFT have had a substitution. Ziffle is going to be going on to support, and Roast Chicken is taking up his helm as the Junkrat player. Roast Chicken does sign up an
Oh,
early
it's
pick with the
true.
Jelly Bean. Really, really taking that Tim moment into, uh, just like finding picks where he just really doesn't seem like there should be one. Now Far is picking apart, however, the DPS. They're not really able to find any picks, however. Zenith is going to kill Icy Colds. You don't really expect that massive burst that Hanzo can do. And sometimes it just really comes out of nowhere. As that's two down, and UFT are going to be securing the first point.
Yeah, in this comp for UFT, no hit scans. They might struggle. They probably, I will expect them to struggle with contesting those flyers,
Mhm.
but they have so much damage output. It's so hard for that Winston to engage. He and his bubble just melt so fast. So it's really a question of who can melt whom first.
Yeah, exactly. And, as to be expected, Ramadan switches on over to the Echo, seeing the double projectile players. He sees an opportunity, and he seizes it, as Evo does finally pick up the Ziffelheim. That's one support down and a lot of health missing from UFT. They are looking like they're going to be playing a little bit of the backplate here. They did secure 26 meters though, which is pretty good. That's a pretty nice first push on a push map like this. Now no, Roast Chicken is going to get picked off by Evo. However, Zenith is able to trade him back as a really good kill. And Icy Cold is going to get chunked for a lot of his health as the dragons come out.
And there's that big nano boost that you play on it for. Alex Striker already taking down Demo.
Yep. Oh, unfortunately, Zenith whiffed his shots onto the Flying Echo, and Mr. Jellybean is able to trade him out for it, but Alex is able to finish off the job, and Ziffle does find Jellybean as well.
Jellybean and Ziffle, I'm just saying, DPS, who needs DPS? You know, bringing pride to the hearts of all of us DPS support players. As we see Primal online for both tanks, now almost Coalescence up against, and almost Riptire up against virtually every single ult for Clark Red. UFT in the lead with push distance, but I expect we're going to be seeing a fight win for Red soon.
Yeah, now Alex kind of leapfrogging over the team here as Roast Chicken finds a pick up to Chromodon. You know, these Flyers, they're really not respecting the Junkrats. As Alex goes back and he dives onto the tank, as Jellybean pops his Kitsune Rush, he's forced to, and Evo dies before he's able to use his Barrage. Zenith with the magnetic grenade, it got nerfed, but not hard enough. Now Roast Chicken is able to mine out against the Winston, and Invader is able to clean up the kill. Alex is going a little deep here, but the Cole is there to back him up, as they're just able to push Clark Red back into their spawn.
And UFT using 2 ults. Clark Red only using 1, but really they only had the opportunity to use 1. Just great neutral play and strong macro play as well from Silver. Gives them that first checkpoint, which can be so very decisive in a push game.
Yeah, exactly. Only really needing one person on the cart really does separate this from like maps like Escort or Hybrid, where you don't really need to anchor too many people. Evil coming out with the Barrage, he does find a kill into Alex and a Valkyrie as well. And a Primal, they're committing 3 ultimates to this fight that was already kind of won as soon as the Winston died. Evo and Chromodon just keep going in deeper, and they're just securing the win. They're like, no, guys, we need to turn this right now, and they did. So now they're going to get back, they're going to deactivate the first checkpoint. However, it's not soon enough, as all of UFT is back up, they're ready, and they're going to contest this as they approach the 5-meter mark.
Roast Chicken coming in scary on the Junkrat. I think I called UFT a brawl team earlier. I think we can reclassify them now as a Junkrat team. 2, you know, Junkrat favored players on one team.
Yeah, Zenith cancels out Chromodon's copy really early before he's able to do anything, and Roast Chicken with the tire, he gets 2 picks, he kills the tank and the Pharah. 2 major pieces of Clark Red's team comp, and Zenith does find the pick onto Chromodon, and that's all members down. And they're able to recapture the bot, and they're going to go and activate that first checkpoint again. That checkpoint on this map, really oppressive, as it gives like really big flank opportunity for UFT as well as just close response.
That's such a big tire there. We see Roast Chicken laying down spray, what, 4 times? And, you know, I would too. You gotta feel happy about that, as UFT still maintaining an ult advantage, even while winning fights with just 1 or 2 ults. Really, it's that strong macro play if we were talking about.
Yeah, so Diva got demeched here, and Alex is able to find the kill into Kiriko. Diva getting juggled around, staggered a little bit, perhaps. This is not looking good. It is still possible. It's still doable. There are still 4 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock. However, going this far into the map is usually a death sentence for a lot of teams, because that's 2 fights won, plus extras to even capture more space if they're willing to come back. Yeah, so a little pre-fight poke here as the Kitsune Rush comes out early, and Icy Cold is able to build up his bomb. High Noon coming out from Evo. Is he going to be able to find anyone with it? Unfortunately, it does not look like so, as Icy Cold, he's pressuring them all into the corner, but he's not able to get them out from behind the wall. Zenith does have High Noon here, though. He could be looking for a play, and Invader does have a rush coming up soon. Things could get messy really quick. Roast Chicken gets picked off by Icy Cold, and the bot is taken back into possession. It is repossessed by Clark. Big Barrage coming out. Evo finds the pick onto Zenith. Barrage unfortunately finds nobody, but it forces Alex to dive even deeper into the team to avoid it. That secures the kill. Yeah, Invader gets picked off really late, and it doesn't look like anybody else from UFT is going to fall and stagger themselves. Unfortunately, Invader he does actually get the close spawn. He gets the close spawn, so UFT are going to be able to fight as soon as the bot reaches the barricade again.
Well, and as soon as Ziffelheim comes back from Ziffelheim and Zenith on a deep flank, U of T are they're making some creative plays here.
Yeah, this is what I told you about earlier. The first spawn is really, really close to that side alleyway, which really allows you to split the map in half horizontally instead of vertically this time. As Zenith lines up his crosshairs onto Demo, but unfortunately isn't able to find the pick. Demo does pop the Valkyrie in response, and Icy Cold with the high noon. However, the City Rush is able to buy them enough speed to get out of there, and Roast Chicken finds the trap kill onto Icy Cold. Demo uses his res on Evo, so they are down a tank permanently now, and they are able to just push back. And they're all clumping up against the Junkrat, and Ziffle Zenith are able to clean up kills. Evo is able to trade back, but Ziffle gets him as well.
And, you know, I think I can say that's the first time I've seen Moira flank into Kiriko Moira Cassidy flank Kitsune Deadeye come out and play. And you have to wonder, you know, did they have to scrim that, or did they, you know, come up with that brilliant strategy on the fly?
You know, knowing UFT, it's really a toss-up, you know. There's no saying for sure. Icy Cold does actually burn out Ziffle, but the massive Riptire coming through onto Evo, he's probably a dead man anyways, but just extra dead, just to make sure. Alex popped his Primal for some reason, but he's able to push them back into the spawn, so I guess it works out just fine. He's going to be able to knock the D.Va back into the team as she's trying to fly away. 50% HP, gets healed up by Moira and the Kiriko, Mercy. Mercy pops the Valk early, and Chromodon is able to find a pick up to Roast Chicken. However, the Coalescence comes back out and is able to neutralize their advantage. Now, Icy Cold finds a pick onto Zenith, and unfortunately, there are no trades going to be happening back over. Chromodon with a massive barrage finds 2 picks, and it's going to send UFT flying for the hills. Most of them are going to get the forward spawn, but this could be a turning point on the map.
Yeah. But, you know, the Clark Red did manage to take that win, but UFT, I mean, really, they have such a big lead. In push, and on push, when you have that forward spawn, you can really do what they've been doing, which is just stagger out fights, play them messy, you know, play messy with your ult economy, so long as you just keep, you know, you don't get any progress, but neither does the other team. And with, you know, they've whittled down that time bank to only a minute remaining.
Yeah, Roast Chicken with the kill to Demo. Looks like the flank rat strikes again. Evo holding the high noon. He's not going to be able to really get anyone. They're all hiding behind the barricade and the bot. He's forced to retreat, however, and the Kitsune Rush coming out from UFT Blue. They're able to force out Zenith. They're able to kill off, they're able to kill off Icy Colds and Evo, and that's recontrolling the bot, and this map is pretty much good as done.
Yeah. 45 seconds left. No ults still online for Clark Red, as we see Deadeye for Zenith. And nothing else for UFT, really. It's going to be mostly a neutral fight, but even if they take this, Clark Red are going to need to win, what, 5-6 more fights in a row?
You know, it's still doable. Never say never, but it's a little bit messy. Roast Chicken with another flank. The flank rat strikes again. Unfortunately, he's not able to double mine anybody. And Zenith with an even bigger flank as Chromodon finds Alex out. Roast Chicken trades back on the Jelly Bean, and Zenith is just walking around the point. He's going to go back to the med room and see if he can find a pick here on an unsuspecting victim. And here he comes around. Roast Chicken finds a kill onto Chromodon. Big high noon flank, unfortunately, does not kill anyone, kind of. Yeah, no, hides behind the bot.
Zoning ult.
Yeah, it was zoning ult. And yeah, Icy Cold is stunned, gonna be demacked. And Roast Chicken finds Jellybean with his Riptire.
And it looks like they're trying to stall it out, but it does look like Clark Red are going to fall, and UFT are going to take this final map. You know, it's flank after flank after flank. Even with no tank, you don't need a front line when your front line is their back line and your back line is your front line. And you know, pull a win out of that as UFT Silver taking map 4 and closing out this series 3-1 in quite strong fashion.
Yep, GG's in the chat all around. Congratulations to UFT for the win. Thank you all for playing so much. Really, even though it wasn't really reflected as much on the scoreboard, this is an incredibly close series, even especially like the first 2 maps. It could have really gone either way. You know, there wasn't really a stomp on either side until we could argue Esperanza, but it's also because push maps tend to be more one-sided towards whoever's more aggressive in the early game.
Yeah, push really is just a momentum game, but each one of those other 3 maps, we saw high percentages on both sides of the 2 stages of Lijiang Tower. We saw Dorado go, just an absolute nail biter, 2 meters away from UT taking it. And Kings Row was admittedly was full held by U of T Silver, but you know, being their sort of brawl favored map, um, still it's I think a commendable performance from both teams. That's the word I was looking for.
Yep, that was a good performance from both
GG's
teams.
all around.
Now, yep, GG's all around. Now, fortunately, this should actually bring U of T's standing in the tournament up like one tier. What that means overall, we're not exactly sure just yet, but stay tuned for next time because we are going to be back hopefully sometime soon if they let me out of the basement. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a good night, everyone. And yeah, have a good night. Goodbye.